back to Johnny's Desk. We engage former Deputy Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Dr. K.B. Tando, on the fallouts from the 2025 West Africa Senior High School certificate examination. He's with me in the studio. We're grateful for joining us again. Good to have you back to our studios. I mean, I'm sure you've, familiarized yourself with the issues that have come out from the 2025 WASSCE, the recent results that have been released. It's not great, particularly when you were there, we were recording, good results. Then all of a sudden there's a sharp turn. What would you say was making, or what was the difference you brought to the game that made it easy? But this time around, things have changed.
Well, thank you. It's a very good question, and yes, it is quite concerning. But I think that what we need to be able to do is to interrogate what happened and try to ensure that we plug, the decline. These are some of the things that we were doing when I was Deputy Director General that I believed contributed to the outcomes in terms of the learning outcomes we were receiving. Now, in education or in a lot of things, there are what I call leading indicators. So the things that you do to get the outcome you're looking for, and then the outcome is usually the lagging indicator.
Right.
So there are a number of things that I believe was happening that, based on my own independent checks, are no longer happening, which I say may be the reason why the results we saw were a bit worrying. 4 key things. Number one, from 2018, we introduced what was called the Academic Intervention Grants. This is when you and I used to go to school. Those whose parents were a bit wealthy could pay for extra classes.
Right.
So if you remember, after school, some people will go and get some extra classes. Those extra classes were usually people with a bit of resources to be able to do. With free SHS, the system opened that everybody from all walks of life, because of the academic performance, could now come into school regardless of their financial situation. So the government in 2018 sat with unions. At the time, the union leaders were Angel Kabonu, David Echampong, and Kenali Audu. Sat with them and said, listen, we want extra classes for all students, because the wealthy ones can do it, but the ones who don't have the resources cannot.
Right.
So we agreed, and they said, well, you would have to pay a certain amount per student. So we termed that academic intervention grants. That allowed early morning lessons to be conducted for the whole school. It allowed for afternoon lessons to be conducted, and in some schools, they even did weekend remedial programs for boarding students. So this was one of the key academic intervention that was happening for all students, to provide some additional support. That has not happened in 2025.
And this was outside the normal teaching period?
It's outside the normal teaching period.
Okay.
It has not happened because the resources have not gone. Number two, from 2020, we realized that when the students write exams, the chief examiners of WAEC write a chief examiner's report. That chief examiner's report is then sent to schools. But we realized that it will go to the schools. The teachers that want to kind of review it will review it, but it's sitting there. So what we decided to do was to work with Ghana Education Service, worked with WAEC, to secure the chief examiners to then run workshops at the regional level for the department heads of at least the 4 core subject areas: math, English, social studies, and integrated science. They will help the department heads to understand what challenges the students who wrote the previous exam faced, what questions they avoid, what topics they couldn't handle very well. Then those head of department would then go into their schools and cascade the training to their departments in English, social studies, math, and science. So these trainings were allowing teachers to be a bit more prepared in future students and the work that needs to be done in terms of their preparations towards exams. That chief examiners workshops have not happened again. Number 3, we used to have what was called math and science specific training. It started when I went into GES in 2018. And what we used to do is to look at the difficult to teach subject or topic areas. Then we would have master teachers from within the GES run workshops across the country for math and science specific teachers on how to address those things. Is it fair vectors? Is it whatever it is that they are having difficulty in? Master teachers who are GES will run workshops for their own colleagues, will provide the resources for those to happen. That third thing was not happening. Then number 4, if you remember, we used to have these annual core subject teacher workshops across the country. We were doing it in the colleges of education, in the universities, in the technical. We use those spaces to run these workshops. Those 4 key leading indicators for at least 2025, the evidence is that it is no longer happening.
But let me come in here. These 4 programs were running.
Yes.
Even until 2024,
yes.
right? And this, the new administration took over just recently. I mean, they're not even into a year.
They are almost 10 months
10
or 11 months. Yes.
10 months.
We are in December, so
yeah. Could we say that the kids or the students or candidates had been undergoing these, trainings until the last 10 months? So there could have been some, knowledge impacted or something done to mitigate the results we're seeing now.
But for a curriculum that is 3,402 hours long, not supporting students in these areas for 1,134 of that 3,000 hours is significant. It's 1/3 of the time that you have not been providing this support. And so all I am saying is that the things that were constant that are no longer there, those can be the things that we can initially point to as the things that didn't happen that may have contributed to this decline.
Okay.
And the decline, we need to be able to understand it carefully. Now, in university going rate or tertiary enrollments, we all know that all universities or all tertiary institutions at least take 3 of the core subject areas plus your other areas for admission. And you must have passed at least those 3 core subject areas with A1 to C6. Last year, the number of students who wrote WASSCE in 2024 were 460,611. This year, it was 461,736. So almost the same, 460,000 students last year and this year. Last year, the mathematics that we have been concerned about, some 305,132 students scored A1 to C6, which means their ability to progress to tertiary education. We had some 300,000 students. This year is 209,000.
Yeah.
The difference is over 96, almost 97,000. So that means this year, our human capital quality has been reduced by close to 100,000. Right? So it is not just even the 18.13 percentage point reduction, but if you look at the raw numbers, it's quite staggering. So for me, what I'm saying is something was working. It wasn't broken. This chair you are sitting on, there are 5 legs. It works fine. Somebody comes and decides to take 2 legs off when it's not broken. If the chair tilts, we need to say, what did you do to that chair? So all I'm saying is that a system had been working, at least for the results we can see over the past 5 years.
Okay.
The results have been good, as you said. And all of a sudden, we are having challenges. So let's look at what we touched.
We touched that went wrong. Well, GES disagrees with you. Yesterday, they released a statement, punching into those measures you said, or you're just explaining to us that they think wasn't really working, and that this year's examination has actually exposed the weak systems that were in place when they took over. And I'm hoping that we can project that statement so that at least we can get it properly. So I'll take it from point 3,
yes,
which says that it is not true that GES has cancelled any allowances due teachers as claimed by Dr. Educhum, who was the former minister, in his engagement with some media houses. Indeed, the Controller and Accountant General's Department had publicly clarified reasons for non-payments of the November allowances for teachers. Well, GES urges the public to disregard the statements by the minister, whose attempt to shift focus from shortcomings in managing the examination process. It also says that it views the results as a true reflection of academic performance of candidates. The outcome is credible representation of students' abilities. I mean, in other words, what you're trying to tell us was really not working. It was a cover-up.
So the first thing I would say
very
is that,
briefly for me, because we have just about a minute to
no
go.
problem. The first thing I would say is that the GES statement is quite unfortunate, you know, for the Ghana Education Service to put out such a statement. I'll quickly address point 3.
Right.
The professional development allowance is not the academic intervention grant. Professional development allowance is paid in November of every year.
Right.
The exams that we are talking about happened in September, October. So it cannot be that it's because of the non-payment of the professional development allowance. So the first thing I would say is that the GES shouldn't have put this statement out. It's quite unfortunate. Number 2, now this whole idea of the credible performance, it is laughable because I know for a fact that if the children had performed better this year, that same statement would have said, we have performed, we have done so well, that's why the children are performing better. So if it goes well, accept it. If it doesn't go well, accept responsibility and correct it. This is what I would say. The GES has made a very, very unfortunate statement, but by insinuating that somehow there was more practice, and that is why the students were performing. And that this is the true, what did they say?
It says that that's the credible outcome
of the
credible representation of students' abilities.
Fantastic. I just want to remind every Ghanaian that next year, if the students perform better than this year's credible standard, then GES has helped the students to cheat. Because what they are trying to say is that good performance is equivalent, good performance beyond this is equivalent to cheating.
Well,
so we would all be watching.
That's
why I'm saying it's quite unfortunate.
Unfortunate. Well, thank you very much, Dr. KB Tando, and he is formerly with GES Deputy Director, GES.
Deputy Director General.
Thank you for joining us on Joe News. Then that's how we wrap up this edition of the show. Thank you for staying with us.